everyone, and welcome to prompt number 75. If you are new to this series, welcome. This is a prompt book that I bought at a store, and I'm doing it one page at a time. So let's see what today's challenge is. All right, we have, it's a single self-portrait. It's nice to be self-absorbed every once in a while. Here we go. Going into this prompt, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do a sort of cartoony version of myself or if I wanted to challenge myself to do realism, like a real portrait of myself. And judging by the title and possibly the thumbnail, maybe you already know that that's exactly what I ended up doing. But until then, enjoy this really creepy drawing that doesn't look like me. Maybe it looks like my future daughter. That isn't going to happen. Either way, I thought it would be fun to mix both cartoony and realism. So at first, I drew myself sort of realistic and put my I put my characters around my real self to sort of put them together. It's sort of one of those little corny things you see every illustrator do. So I wasn't sure if I did 100% want to do realism, so I ended up sketching just a quick little something of my cartoon self with my characters. Because I love my characters. When I think about myself, I think of what I create, because art is a huge part of my life, so I did want to incorporate that somehow. In the end, I couldn't make up my mind as I do. I'm a very indecisive person, so I decided to do two portraits. The one on the left is the sort of cartoon version that I normally draw, and the one on the right is going to be that realism that I attempted to do. I say attempted because, oh boy, you know how long it's been since I've tried to do a realistic portrait? College, which was about 8 or 9 years ago. I'm sure I've doodled here or there to try to do a sort of realistic thing, but it's just not something I care to do ever. Should I even say my opinion? I know that paint strokes and stuff can make it more interesting, breaking things down into shapes, but I really like to stylize things, and I also just like really simplistic art, so I'm just super into illustrative drawings. Realism isn't for me, but you know what? It was kind of fun to revisit, I guess, a realistic portrait. Plus, when I did these back in college, we always used pencil or graphite or charcoal. I never used watercolor to try to do a realistic portrait, so this was quite an experiment for me. I cannot even begin to explain how many tutorials I looked up on YouTube on how to paint noses and eyes and mistakes not to do and things you should do when painting portraits. I wanted to go into this informed because I knew it was going to be a struggle. And you know what I didn't do? I didn't practice. I'm so stupid. Not only that, but I also did everything they told me not to do, and I didn't do anything they told me to do because my head just couldn't wrap around what to do or how to do anything. Who would have thunk practice makes progress? Me, I did. I did my first drawing, which you will not be seeing because it's going to be a Patreon exclusive. I recorded it and everything. I didn't practice anything. I didn't practice noses, I didn't practice anatomy, I didn't practice anything, and I just jumped into it like I was gonna draw a portrait and it was gonna be all dandy. I was scared, but I don't know why I didn't think to practice before jumping into this. So the first attempt was horrible, and I just knew I needed to set aside time to practice a few things, and the only thing that I really practiced was the nose, because noses are super hard to draw. It was so hard to not make it look flat, but also not making it look too 3D without adding too many shadows where they didn't belong. And there was just so much to keep into consideration. It was very stressful. I think the main thing I really struggled with this portrait was the fact that I did use a reference photo, but it was still really hard to look at the photo and draw what I saw instead of drawing what I thought about myself. When I look at my face, I think small eyes, big nose, and small lips. And wow, did I not start off by drawing a very, very large nose, and the lips ended up staying quite small. So I think the mouth is a little smaller than it should have been. It kind of looks like I'm doing this little pouty face, which hey, is probably not far off from accurate. I don't think the nose looks too bad from when I first started sketching it, because holy cow, did I make that nose large. And wow, I don't know why I can't seem to draw eyes even. I think my main problem is that when I put the skin tone over, I ended up going over too much eye. That's not even a good no, I simply can't draw even eyes. Wowie. The eyes in my original drawing are also pretty dang wonky. In fact, The original drawing that I drew yesterday looks like a Na'vi from that movie Avatar. You know those big blue creature people? They have those really far apart eyes and their sort of like nose bridge is flat. That's what my character looked like when I drew it the first time, and wow, did it not look so creepy. But the second attempt, even though it's not great, it looks so much better than the first attempt. Should I talk about my illustration style? I don't know that there's much to really say about it because it's what I draw a lot. I said I don't draw myself much, but then I think about all of those sort of tip videos I make, and I always draw myself for the characters in those. I drew myself with ants all over because, again, I did want to bring in that drawing my characters with me style, but I did want to put realistic ants all over my portrait because I thought it would be funny to bring over the ants and also turn them into a realistic style. But after I finished my drawing and how much pressure I put on myself and how hard it was, I didn't really feel like ruining it with a bunch of ants all over me, which is stupid because I'm probably never going to look at this again. But I didn't want to put ants all over it because even though I'm not happy with how the portrait turned out, I'm actually happy with what I was able to do because, like I said, I haven't done a portrait since college. Wow. I think the only way I can tell that this portrait is of me is that the hairstyle is my hairstyle. Other than that, it really doesn't resemble me a whole heck of a lot. But I tried, you know? I really gave it my all. While I was coloring the nose of my actual portrait, I was looking at my skin tone, and I know I do have pink spots on my face, like around my nose, and I know my chin's a little bit darker. And I kind of thought that was really cute in comparison to my cartoon sort of style character. Because I do give myself that really large, square sort of pink nose, I thought it was really interesting that my nose is more square shaped than most people's. And it does have that little bit of pink on it, so I thought that was really cute to carry over to the realistic style portrait. A lot of people ask me why I give people triangle noses, and I just really like the shape. I don't know, it just really fits in with my style and I think it's cute. I think the main reason why I developed that sort of shapely nose style is because I think one of my biggest features about my face is that I have a big squarish nose. So I thought that would be really interesting to incorporate into the way that I draw myself. And then I sort of put it into the rest of my people drawing style. That is not the way I always drew noses. I used to draw noses like most people do, just a little bump on the face. I, of course, made my nose bigger because, again, it's a very noticeable feature about me. I think I really developed that nose style when I really started to develop my style and really started to break it down into shapes, and it just made sense to make the nose a shape. So yeah, what did I learn about drawing a realistic portrait for the first time in 8 years? It's hard. Not that I didn't think it was going to be hard going into it, but it was really fun to push myself to do this. Probably wouldn't have pushed myself to do this without the book, so that was interesting. I am so excited to see what you guys do with this prompt. There's going to be such an array of different subjects because we all look different, so I'm excited. And here we are at the end card. Our prompts last week were coffee cup and key. Our first featured artist is Nisak, who created a really interesting story, I thought, when you drop your keys into, what is that called, a sewage drain or just like the street drain? What is under there? Maybe there's a creature, you know, having coffee in the sewers like they do. So I really enjoyed that interesting backstory to those two simple prompts. Our next featured artist is Ghost with Luck, who created a ghost drinking coffee. But you gotta love the fact that the coffee is just going through the ghost and down to the floor. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining in on this prompt. I cannot wait to see your self-portraits. Goodbye.